Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Dan Gheesling. Welcome to episode 42 of the Dan Gheesling podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Whether you're dialed in, you're running a half marathon between here and Skokie, Illinois. Maybe you're in transit. Maybe you're in English 101 and you're like, hey, I don't want to listen to this teacher. Let me listen to the podcast. Or you may be in your cubicle, work wherever you are. Thank you guys so much. Sipping on a latte. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another weekly episode of the podcast. I appreciate all the feedback. Been getting a lot of DMs lately about the podcast. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But today's video is all about flexing creatively and just pulling a 180 when people are expecting a 360. So what I mean by that is this past week, about midweek, I was heading into the office, and typically, I got in a little bit late. I've been hinting to you guys a little bit. I got this big project going on in my real life business, and it's been, it's been eating up a lot of time. So anyways, I got into the office late because I was working on something, and I didn't have a video out for the day. And I'm like, you know what? I've been having a lot of fun with Escape from Tarkov lately. The reason why I've been, I don't want to talk about that for a second. So I've been playing Escape for Tarkov for, it'll be 2 years in August. For about 2 years. I've really enjoyed it. And it's been a lot of fun. But over time, I've evolved how I've played, right? So especially on Twitch, I've tried to find ways to make it entertaining because it's a slow game. There's elements of it being slow, but also there's, intermittent, really fast action. So I've always been trying to find ways to pick up the lull of Tarkov. And that's what makes it a fun game, is it's not just frantic, but it's capturing these moments of just insanity or fun, but there's lead time in between those moments. And that's by design, and that's what makes the game work. But I'm always trying to find ways to keep it more entertaining throughout the entire time. So, there is going to be some downtime, but really just trying to find ways to maximize that downtime. And over time, I started, starting the show with a Doom run, when essentially I'll play music from a 1990s FPS game like Doom, and I'll play it in a completely opposite way that I would normally play Tarkov. Normally, I try to play Tarkov a little bit tactical, a little bit slow, so for the best, I guess, outcome or results. But we started to do these Doom runs, and it was fun. It was just a complete change of pace. We played them frantically and just not worried about anything. So I'd say recently there's been another evolution. And I've kind of taken a step back to realize, and I got to thank a couple people for this, is that there's thousands of ways to play the game. It's almost like just a blank canvas. But I've been playing it with like 3 colors, like red, black, and gold. And all of a sudden, finally, I don't say finally, but now some of my friends are getting into playing the game after a long time, and, playing with them and seeing how they play, or watching a little bit of their content, how they play. I'm like, yo, you could play this other ways and make it fun. And so in particular on Twitch, I started doing a lot of like low value runs, meaning like not getting geared up with the best stuff, but just running with a pistol, and then doing things like gun game, where you start with one gun and then you upgrade your stuff throughout the map by, you have to earn it on the map. And so that's evolved a lot on Twitch, where it's like almost like playing a whole new game. And yet if I want to go back to using the black, red, and gold paint palette, I can do that. And so it's really, and the fun thing is, you play a game for 2 years, and by any stretch of the imagination, I am not an expert of the game, but it is a complex game, and I like to think I have like a pretty good working base knowledge of the game. So now that I have that, like, I'm able to kind of do some different weird stuff or creative stuff. And so let me fast forward to the initial story. I'm driving in the office. I'm like, okay, I don't have a YouTube video for today. I've been having a lot of fun with Tarkov. I got this idea for a video. I'm like, hey, and I don't know, I just kept thinking Hammer Brothers, but I'm like, hey, let me take the press account that I have. Let me go into the smallest map in the game, Factory, with 24 grenades and no guns, and just see what happens. Just have fun with it. So I did that and had fun with it. That's not something that you would normally ever do, or necessarily want to do in Tarkov, or necessarily ever seen someone do before. But I just had that idea. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to tell anyone this video is coming out. I'm just going to put it together, have fun with it, do it. So typically what happens is, right now on the YouTube channel, I have an Enter the Gungeon series and MLB The Show. MLB The Show has been perfect because the videos have been right around 30 minutes, which is like perfect. But a Gungeon run, I got to prepare like 40 to 60 minutes per episode. And that's just straight gameplay, no editing, nothing. But, so that's like, so typically I plan for an hour, one of those episodes. I'm like, all right, today I'm going to replace that Enter the Gungeon episode with a Escape from Tarkov. So I did 10 minutes of prep work, buying the grenades and getting everything geared up, logging into the press account. I hadn't logged in. And then the episode itself was about 10 minutes of gameplay. And then what I normally do is I normally just ship it off to Zane, the editor, do the thumbnail, tag it, and bag it. I didn't have that time, so I uploaded it myself. And then I spent about 10 minutes on the thumbnail. And I haven't done thumbnails in a couple months, and I enjoy doing them. But when I'm pumping out so many videos every day, it takes time to do that. So Zane's been doing them, but I made, really kind of unique thumbnail, and I went through my normal process where I'm like, okay, I have an idea for a thumbnail. Let me zoom in on a bunch of grenades and just leave it at that. And then when I upload it to YouTube, it uploads it in a very small preview window. So you see what it looks like from afar. And I'm like, from a small, I'm making it in 1920 by 1080, but when it shrunk down, you're like, it doesn't look that good. So I took that, and then I took a Tarkov meme little guy and I put that on there. I'm like, it's okay. Then I blew them both up, and I'm like, okay, we're almost there. I saved the thumbnail after each one of these things to look at it, and then I put like a little like light yellow filter over it just so it would brighten up a little bit, and that was it. So I posted that video, and as of a couple days later, it has over 4,400 views on it, or the typical views on an episode on my channel is anywhere between like 1,000 and 1,400. And if I'm gonna make a change, a lot of things have to be better about it, meaning like I have to have a lot of fun doing it. I have to enjoy the process. People have to enjoy watching it. That's first and foremost. And then also, it's also an increase in time, decrease in time, which makes it a little bit better, and also allowed me to be a little bit more creative and not kind of keep doing the same thing over and over again. And it really made me question my initial thoughts of Escape from Tarkov on the YouTube channel. And I'm sure we can go back to a podcast episode, maybe 15 or 16 episodes ago. And I know I said this for a fact. I said, I'm not going to do Tarkov videos on the channel because people don't like watching Tarkov videos on the channel, on the YouTube channel, on channel 1. But the real thing is, the real answer is that people did not like the Tarkov videos I was making on the channel. So it's a very slight difference in the actual sentence, but I'm like, oh, people don't like Tarkov on the channel. Nah. People don't like the Tarkov videos I was making on the channel, meaning the videos I was making, people like, and I don't want to say people didn't want to watch, but there wasn't as many people watching because the videos, for whatever reason, weren't that good. I don't know, maybe they weren't creative. I don't know. But I can just tell you my mind has shifted from people don't want to watch Tarkov on the channel to now people didn't want to watch the videos I was making on the channel. That's a really big shift, because the one thing for me that never happens, I never take anything personally. I just don't. I'll just adapt and change. So when I was doing a lot of Escape from Tarkov videos on the channel, people were watching, then it kind of tailed off and then it started to dip. I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to make those videos anymore. So, I changed to a different game. But where I made the mistake was not really analyzing or trying something different in Escape from Tarkov, because, I don't want to say I've invested 2 years in the game, but I've enjoyed playing the game for 2 years. A lot of people watch content on my channel or on Twitch specifically because I play Escape from Tarkov. Now, that's a whole different discussion about, being tied to one game or anything like that. But I've always, in the back of my head, always known that there's been like a disunity or disjunction between my main YouTube channel and Twitch, meaning that in theory, if I'm looking at this as as two kids holding hand in hand, or a funnel, or however you connect, there's been really no connection between what I've been doing on YouTube and what I've been doing on Twitch. And while I've struggled with saying that's okay, but more so because I'm appreciative people watch the videos no matter what I'm making, that means a lot. But it's also like, hey, you got to start working a little bit smarter now and more efficiently if you want to continue to push this thing. So that was a huge shift for me, and I'm super excited about it, because now it's not just the views, it's not just people being excited, but I'm excited about, okay, hey, look, I've done this 24 grenades in a small level video. What else can I do that's not doing the same thing over and over again? Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that hasn't worked for me. And and maybe I'll go back to that at some point, or maybe I'll sprinkle those in. But, I've done 3 Escape from Tarkov videos on the main channel in the past week, and all of them were very well received. One I did was just, it wasn't anything fancy. I did a gun game. You start with a gun and kind of work your way up. And if you get better guns, you got to earn them. You're not going to buy them. And then the real kind of thing that, after I got creative with the 24 grenade video, I started to say, okay, you know what? Let me do this again. And this is Saturday. I don't have an Escape from Tarkov video. I don't have a Gungeon video loaded for Saturday. And I'm at home for the most part. Every Saturday I'm at home, and I got a little bit of time to work when both my kids are napping. But most of the time Saturday I shut it down. And if I have the video done, then normally I don't work on Saturday. That's kind of my one day off. But I didn't have a video done. And I'm like, okay, I have about 2 hours to do this. And the computer that I have at home, it really doesn't record Escape from Tarkov well. At my office where I record, I have a 2 PC setup, so pretty much I can play whatever game I want, and there's no technical lag. So I'm like, okay, I have 2 hours to put a video together for Escape from Tarkov. I know I can't, I can't record gameplay. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? One of the things that happened when I play Escape for Tarkov on the Twitch channel is that people will come in like, hey, Dan, what's Escape from Tarkov? Can you explain it? And Escape from Tarkov looks very complex. It's very deep, but it's hard to explain because there's no other games like it. I can't say it's like, oh, it's like Overwatch, or oh, it's like Counter-Strike, or it's like DayZ, or oh, it's like PUBG, because it's just, there's nothing else like it. You can't really do that. So over time, people have been asking that for a year and a half on Twitch. I've been able to kind of refine how we explain it in a very short and efficient way for a couple of reasons. One, so people can understand it. And two, because it's something, I know I'm going to have to say over and over again. So I want to get it as efficiently and tight as possible, which is why I talk about the value of being able to explain something in first grade vernacular. If you could take something that's super complex, whether it's about video games or whatever, and make it so that a first grader can understand it, that's really pretty powerful, and it's a talent, but also it's very helpful to people. So I gotta give due credit. I've explained it, I don't know, hundreds of times on the channel, but my editor, the podcast editor Tyler, he ripped it from one of the live episodes, and he's like, hey, why don't you play this as a PSA? So it was basically he just ripped my audio from a live stream of me explaining Tarkov and put some royalty-free music behind it and make it sound like a PSA. I'm like, yo, that's awesome. Let's do it. But before I had a chance to do it, then Zane, the editor, took that audio and put a made of the visual aspect of the PSA for it. So now I've been playing that for a couple weeks on the channel. When someone asks what's Escape from Tarkov, I hit the button. It runs a 20-second PSA. A lot of people get a laugh out of it. It's a fun, little clip to watch. But I had this kind of asset sitting in the chamber. So here's the process. I want to take you through the process of making this video, because I'll tell you the end result. The end result is I made a video that has done the best, has the most views on the channel over the past couple months, and in 24 hours. So I made this video that did extremely well. And if I'm looking at it in the microcosm of the channel, it would be the equivalent of going viral within my channel, right? Now, I'm not saying viral on YouTube, but within my channel, did really well. So I want to walk you through this because I think it's important to not be able to like be afraid to kind of do something a little bit out there. So here's what I did. I knew I wanted to put this PSA in the channel. Initially, I thought, hey, let me just upload it straight up. So it's and title it a 20-second explanation for Escape from Tarkov. And I'm like, nah, this could be an opportunity for people that watch Tarkov on the channel that may not know that we stream this on Twitch. Maybe a chance to kind of deliver that message as well. So I started out and I said, I shot an intro at the front of the PSA. I said, hey, my name's Dan Gheesling. I made 200 Tarkov videos. I stream Tarkov 3 times a week on Twitch. And I stopped the recording. I edited it together and I watched this and I'm like, man, this just sounds scripted. This is what I normally do for an edited video. And it just didn't feel like the right thing to do. So I stopped. I'm like, okay, let me take a step back. Let me reshoot this intro. So I reshot the intro and I asked myself in the video in a Melvin voice or like a nerdy voice. I said, you know, hey Dan, can you explain Escape from Tarkov in 20 seconds or less? And I'm like, sure. So I recorded that. I'm like, okay, this is a little bit better. But then I took a step back. I'm like, okay, if someone watched this video that had never seen one of my live stream, they're going to be very confused. Like, why is this guy talking to himself? It's really not that funny. It's kind of only mildly humorous if you're used to the Melvin voice and kind of get that. But if not, it's really kind of far out there. So then I'm like, all right, let me take a step back. What else can I do to kind of make this stretch a little bit more? I'm like, what if I use a puppet? And, you got to remember, I have 2 kids under the age of 3 in my house. We have a box in my house with puppets. This is what it is. I'm like, you know what? Let me do it. Let me just try it. So I went upstairs, and oddly enough, I grabbed this green parrot puppet, and I walked down because, my kids were napping. I went up. There's a closet outside the room with, like, the toys and stuff in it. So I grab it. I walk down. My wife's like, what are you doing with that puppet? And I just kind of gave her the Cerso shrug, and she kind of laughed it off. And she gets it. And I take down and I record like 20 seconds of the parrot just kind of mimicking on a green screen. Then I go to watch it back and I'm like, the parrot's green and you record it on a green screen. So it's like a translucent parrot. I'm like, okay, that didn't work. I ran upstairs and I'm like, okay, there's an elephant and a tiger. And I'm like, the elephant, the nose looks kind of weird. And I don't know. I just grabbed the tiger, did it, and just recorded on the green screen and then recorded the audio saying the same thing, like, hey Dan, I know you have over 200 YouTube videos of Escape from Tarkov on your channel and you live streamed Escape from Tarkov 3 times a week on Twitch or something to that vernacular. And then I overlaid it with, edited it in Adobe Premiere, put it with the tiger talking. And I'm like, okay, we got a shot here. Then what I did is I took the audio and I cranked it up with one of the audio filters. I had no idea how to do this. I learned it in, I just Googled it in Adobe Premiere. How do you auto-tune, a voice? So I made it sound like a chipmunk or a high-pitched noise. And then I overlaid that over myself, just kind of nodding my head and then saying, sure. So essentially, I edited the whole thing together to make it look like a puppet was talking to me and asking me to explain Escape from Tarkov in 20 seconds. And put it all together, put it in a PSA, put it up really quickly, made the thumbnail really simply, and then put it up. But when I put it up, I'm like, no matter what happens with this, like, I'm excited about it because I think it's doing a service to someone if they go to YouTube and they type in what is Escape from Tarkov. And if they happen to see this video, I'm like, they're going to know what it is. Like, it's going to be broken down very simply in 20 seconds or less. So at the worst, I'm like, okay, someone is going to be informed about Escape from Tarkov, a game that I really enjoy, a game that's complex, but someone will understand what the game is based on this video. And hopefully they get a laugh from it, or at least maybe an eye roll. And I'm like, at best, this has a shot to, make a lot of people laugh, make a lot of people learn about Tarkov, play Tarkov, and maybe a chance that a couple people will come check out the show or the channel or be a part of the community or dial in or whatever. That was kind of the best case scenario. And I have very little expectations, and I would talk about this all the time. Whenever you put a YouTube video out, you just don't know. Like, you sometimes think you have the best video in the world, no one watches it. And then sometimes, you put something together. I thought this one would do pretty well. But, in less than 24 hours or in 24 hours, it's got 6,600 views, which for my channel is a lot of views and not a lot of time. So it's definitely reinvigorating. And it gets me excited to now, like, I'm going to be brainstorming new videos to do. Am I going to use a puppet in the next video? No. But am I going to think about doing another PSA? Yeah. So it's just, I think it's really kind of, and if you listen in the past couple podcasts, especially the journal-esque podcast, I've been kind of struggling to find a path to not feel comfortable, but feel like I'm moving the needle forward on YouTube and that everything's kind of in synergy, working hand in hand. And I know this is super early on. It's been a week with 3 videos, but I think I've found that path. I think I know what I need to do now, where before I'm like, okay, let me just keep doing this and over again, see what happens, or let me keep throwing different stuff against the wall. And I think that's the important takeaway, is that, by no means any stretch of the imagination have I made it on YouTube or anything like that, but I've just kind of hit a vein or caught like a mini wave. And I'm like, all right, I'm on to something now. Now run with it and do the actual work and see where you can take this thing. And it's pretty important because, in the past, like look in the past couple months, I just stopped doing Escape from Tarkov videos on the channel. Now, I don't look at that as like quitting. That's not the answer. Quitting is like, hey, never revisiting Tarkov, but just being not afraid to keep going back and trying different things and just being persistent. It's been a critical key for me, not only in this little microcosm of what's going on YouTube, but also on Twitch and other things. Just the fact that, if things aren't working, I'm not just going to stop. I'm going to keep trying different stuff, different stuff. And most importantly, in between that, listen to the feedback and adjust. And if people like something, do more of it. And if not, like, don't keep doing the same thing over and over again. And it's just, to me, it's just, I'm happy. I know I'm happy. I don't want to say happy. Because has nothing to do with this, but I'm excited about where things are going to go with the channel now. It's a different way. I feel good about it. I'm excited doing this stuff. Not that I wasn't before, but I just feel like, I'm fired up about moving forward and flexing this creative Tarkov muscle while still continuing the MLB series, the typical gameplay series on the show. Now that means Gungeon kind of goes to the wayside for now, but can't do it all. And I think that's also important. You can't do everything. So if something's working and I hate it, it's such a unique thing on YouTube where it's like, okay, now, like, I don't want to say I'm letting down the people that like watching Gungeon on the channel, because I kind of am. And it's just a tough decision to make because you don't want to disappoint anyone. You don't want to let anyone down. But I don't know. I think that's the hardest thing to rectify in the head. But to me, it's just, you got to keep moving. And, I guess continue to, I'll still play Gungeon on Twitch, but just make sure everyone knows that I'm appreciative whether you watch one video or all of them or you only watch some. I'm just super excited about where we're going. But that's the hard part as a creator. Is like, hey, you got a series that, 1,200 people or 1,500 people enjoy watching. All of a sudden, you just kind of stop it. It's like, it doesn't feel good, but at the same time, the other side is like, it's the right thing to do for the channel. I don't know. It's such a weird thing to talk about, but I don't know. I'm just super appreciative of it nonetheless, and have the opportunity to even be in this spot where I can try different things and sample different things. Outside of that, I don't know how this figures into everything, but I really like the results and I love the feedback. So I'm going to continue to push and move forward. So outside of that, another thing that happened was on Friday night, and it's rare that I go out, but Friday night I went out with my wife and family, and we had a good time. And I got home Friday night. It was, a little bit late. But like I said, I normally don't go. I got home like midnight or 1 o'clock or something. And I just felt an immense sense of gratitude. And I don't know why. And I feel that sense very often. But for whatever reason, I was really compelled to do something about that. And so I went in the community Discord, went in the announcement room, and I just typed like, not a letter, but like a couple sentences just saying, hey, you know what? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the support. Thank you guys for taking care of each other in the community. And I just felt grateful, and I wanted to make sure to express that to the people that I'm grateful for in the community. And the best way, I'd say maybe the most accurate way to do that kind of in a feedback form is on the community Discord. And so I don't know. I don't take this for granted, right? Like the fact that I get to live stream video games. I get to make videos that people like watching. The fact that, even, the European TV deal, like to make gaming stuff. Like as a kid, if I were to look back and be like, hey, later on in life, you're going to be able to make a little side business or even a business playing video games. I don't know that the kid would have believed you. I just don't think the kid would have believed you. So I'm just super grateful, and I don't take it for granted. For me, I just always want to continue to provide people the escape or the positive environment or the laughter. And so I just did something about it, and it felt good, but it also, I don't know. I don't know if I always express that, whether you listen to the podcast. Like, I appreciate it. And because there's a million choices out there. I always talk about that on Twitch. There's a million Twitch channels out there. People choose to watch you. There's a million podcasts out there. And thank you for listening. So, and kind of to build off of that, I've been getting a lot of DMs on Instagram and Twitter, in particular, the past couple of weeks about, it's not just, hey, Dan, thanks for the content. It's like people are writing paragraphs and paragraphs on Instagram DM. I don't think I've ever wrote a paragraph on Instagram DM. And so I think it's like a two-way street. It's when that kind of stuff comes in, and it's not just because of that kind of stuff. I just, feel super grateful. I posted one of them, and anytime someone writes me something kind of heartfelt, I always, believe it or not, I always kind of white out or black out the name and the image to protect, just in case people share stuff. But sometimes I just share that stuff when it kind of strikes a chord with me on Instagram. And so I did that, and right after I post that Discord, it was, later at night, and I posted, someone had written one of those nice DMs. I responded and then posted it as a story. And in the morning, and I didn't even realize it, but someone said, hey, Dan, you were responding to that individual and you had 1% battery left, like you're the real one or something like that. Just something kind of like, and I don't even think about that stuff, but I don't know. I feel like sometimes in a two-way street, things mean a lot to people that they may not realize, and vice versa. Like, things mean a lot to me that other people may not realize they're doing. And so just super appreciative of the whole thing. And even when, and I can't even say this is like sparked from, the 3 videos doing really well on the channel. Cause I just feel this way, whether, things are going well or not. I just feel grateful for the opportunity to do that. And it's kind of like, I think I've talked about this once on the podcast, is that, and it's like, sounds a little pessimistic, but it's really good advice. I got this when I was interning for the Detroit Lions. There's this guy who'd been around forever, like 20, 25 years. And I was leaving, my internship was done. I'm like, hey, what's your best piece of advice or something? And we were talking, and he's like, hey, nothing is ever as good as it seems, and nothing is ever as bad as it seems. And I think it's like it's really helped me out a ton, just kind of staying even keeled. When things are going really well, like here's an example, things are going really well right now on YouTube, like acknowledge and be like, yo, this is cool, but keep moving forward. And on the flip side, when things aren't going well, it's not really that bad. Do I still get to do this and have fun? Yeah. Is it the results that I want right now, or am I pushing myself creatively and things like that? No, but you still can. So I don't know. It's kind of one of those episodes where super grateful. I felt like I caught like a mini wave, both from a result standpoint, people being excited about it, and also internally, where I'm super fired up about it and excited to push the envelope in that regard, especially with the Escape from Tarkov videos. With that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Hope you guys have been enjoying the mini podcast that Tyler has, or the mini episodes that Tyler's been working hard to put together. And thank you guys. I will see you guys in a week from today, Monday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, for the next, I was going to say Escape from Tarkov, the next Dan Gheesling podcast. And if you guys don't already, join us live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on twitch.tv/Dan Gheesling, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you guys next week.